This week on the Game Marks podcast, we tackle the 1990 Sega Mega Drive all-women's Japanese wrestling game, Cutie Suzuki Ringside Angel. Our deep dive breaks down all there is to know about the 16-bit title and burning question. Are we going to play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor? You're fired! Plus, this week's Clash at the Feast tournament. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles, because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. I am independent wrestler Johnny Clash.
And I am George Feast, and this week we are playing Cutie Suzuki Ringside Angel.
And as always, we love to hear from you, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate wherever you choose to listen, and join the conversation on social media at Game Marks Pod. Georgie.
Johnny.
What's up?
How are you, bud?
I'm good. Still thinking about Ultimate Muscle Legends versus New Generation?
So I'm going to tell you something. I actually played it a couple more times over the week.
Oh, you're hogging that little mini GameCube disc from me?
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. This is a communal podcast collection that we're amassing here, so don't lay claim over things.
Obviously it was you, not me. But
yeah, for the time being, until you specifically requested, I will be the proud home for this game. It's just, you know what it is? It's like I said last week. It's just stupid fun. Like, it's just super over the top, exaggerated, arcadey style fun, and I don't know. It's just interesting.
I liked it.
I'm still into it.
We got some pretty good feedback on the game itself. Some people were saying they wish we didn't play it forever, so then we could like raffle off the game or something, and they could have the copy. But sorry.
Yeah,
we're keeping it.
I kind of like it a little bit, but
yeah,
I mean,
ours now.
I mean, like we said last week, if you want to get the game, as long as you're not like a mint in box collector, it's relatively inexpensive, and they're out there. You could find them.
And as we've been mentioning the past few weeks, we have a pro wrestling tees store. So if you want to, rep the Game Marks squad, head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. Check out our designs and play it forever.
Yeah, definitely don't future endeavor our pro wrestling tees store.
Please don't. We worked very hard.
That's bad. That's bad for business. All right, guys, up next, it's time for a little gaming news.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Cult Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles. From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country. Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Cult Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CultLookingBB. New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts, like this one, are available. The Cult Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
E3 has officially started to release a list of attendees for this year's event. Big names include Xbox, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Bethesda, and plenty more familiar names. Notably, Sony is still absent from the list after the company confirmed last month that it will be skipping this event, just like last year. According to a new report, Call of Duty Modern Warfare's rumored and leaked Battle Royale mode is releasing soon. The report comes from Daniel Ahmad, who's widely considered one of the most trusted sources in the business and has had reliable scoops in the past. According to Ahmad, players looking forward to the Battle Royale mode will be able to play soon enough. There is no official word from Infinity Ward or Activision as of yet. Since the inception of the Game Boy, Nintendo has been making traveling easier with their handheld and easily accessible consoles. The company has announced pop-up lounges that will begin appearing in airports starting February 13th. The pop-ups will feature playable Switch games, giveaways, and more. The company has not yet announced exactly which airports these pop-ups will appear in, or what games players can expect to find. But if you're looking for a copy of Warzone on the Game Boy, hit up Troy Nelson. Hope your pockets are deep. And that's all we have for gaming news. Catch us next week.
John, I gotta tell you, from June, pretty much that first week of June till about Christmas time, I am all aboard that gaming hype train. E3 may be my favorite time of year. You get so much thrown at you. All the devs, all the game developers, all the console developers are all just like, here's everything we got coming out. Here's everything that we got planned. You get to see everything that is on the, little asterisks. Hopefully you don't get the developers that are like, hey, here's this game. It's amazing. And you're really going to like it. And then it doesn't come out for 4 years because I've been there and I'm sure you have too.
Yep.
But yeah, the start of E3 season is upon us, and I'm thrilled. I cannot wait. Now, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you a COD player? What was the last Call of Duty you played?
Okay, so I go back to Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2. I didn't have the first ones, weird enough. Played World at War a lot.
Did you play Ghost?
I didn't play Ghost. I played the first one for PS4. Which one was that? Advanced Warfare, and I absolutely hated it. I hated the jetpacks. I hated the maps. They just were not fun. I recently had World War II, and I played it for a bit. I just really wasn't like super into it. Some of the maps reminded me of the older maps, but I want Rust and like the good stuff. But I am actually looking forward to the new Modern Warfare and the Battle Royale mode because I do know a lot of people that have been playing it, and I'm itching for a good Battle Royale since Fortnite kind of went down the drain a little bit, in my opinion.
I've got some good news for you, sir.
What is the good news?
The new Battle Pass for Call of Duty just released for Modern Warfare. And in the Battle Pass, you can unlock the UMP, and Rust is back in the game.
Ooh.
So, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the newest version that we had just mentioned, it seems like they're going to be adding a Battle Royale mode, also has the UMP or UMP, however you want to call it, and Rust was just added, I think either this week or last week.
All right, so I guess that will be my next gaming purchase to hold me over until The Last of Us 2.
So make sure to find Johnny Clash on all Call of Duty servers and, put him to the test. Make him earn that prestige.
Yeah, I'm not hard to find, and I'm also one of those guys who, once I get to like the top, I don't prestige because I don't feel like doing everything again.
Yeah, I think I've only prestiged once. I think the last Call of Duty game that I played was so I'm original, so like the first Modern Warfare pretty much all the way to now. I haven't played this Modern Warfare, but I played Black Ops 4. So I'm pretty much every major multiplayer installment I've played every year with the exception of what was the one before Black Ops 4?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember. All I know is that I want them to make a Ghost sequel because I thought the single player storyline to Ghost was amazing. Unpopular opinion, don't at me. I know it's not widely accepted, but Ghost had a very good single player storyline and I liked it.
All right, well I hope you get your Call of Duty wish. So how about up next, the question of the week.
Hey George, are you ready? I said, are you ready for our Pro Wrestling Tees store? Brace yourself because the Game Marks podcast is now on ProWrestlingTees.com, featuring multiple designs designed by us. Head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod today to either play it forever or future endeavor.
All right, so last week's question, I had asked you if you could pick 4 wrestlers. We kind of used any generation, dead or alive, to make a sitcom. What would it be? Who would it be? And we got some pretty interesting feedback on that one. So Jamie Patterson at Walk On Homeboy, he doesn't know what he would name it, but he's got a loose plot for it. Ready? Jericho is forced to adopt Swoggle after losing a match. Swoggle is a giant pain, and Y2J's landlord, the evil Miz, is trying to evict them. Big Show swaps helping Y2J and Miz from week to week. I would watch the crap out of that.
Oh, yeah. And I actually suggested a name for this show on Twitter. I thought that it should be called The Walls of Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Or if it takes place in an apartment complex, it could be called The Halls of Jericho.
How about breaking the balls down of Jericho?
Break the balls down?
That seems like what Swoggle's doing.
Break the balls down.
Justin Summers at Heavyset330. He wants including The Miz, Maurice, Mike Bennett, and Maria with their families, so I guess the babies are all included. Their next door neighbor, similar to the Honeymooners, and he wants to name it There Goes the Neighborhood. A lot of Miz. Everyone wants the Miz, which I guess makes sense since
he is
big
the
Hollywood star, you know?
The most must-see star.
Yeah, so I'm glad we got a bunch of feedback on that. I thought that was a fun one. We put up the graphics of our
I was going to say,
shows.
I gotta give you a shout out for those. Those were great. that is a Johnny Clash original. Putting what was the name of yours? It was 2.5 Men and a Grandma.
2.5 Men and some old lady.
And some old lady. That's what it was. And then the beers and barbells in the style of Cheers. I kudos.
That's why I get paid the big bucks here.
All right. So I do believe it is my turn for the question of the week. Am I?
You are correct.
Correct. All right. So as always, we ask each other the questions, and we like to open the question up to you. You can let us know your answers at GameMarksPod on all forms of social media.
I honestly think people giving their feedback after the question of the week is one of my favorite things about this entire podcast.
Anything that we do that gets us to interact with the listeners of the podcast, I am 100% on board for, just because I love to know. I mean, questions like this are great because you get to hear everyone's creative ideas, but like when we talk about the video games, we have like very video game specific questions. I just like knowing everyone's opinions because like it's a whole new set of questions. Like, oh, I never even thought about the game in this way. It's a whole new perspective on some things. But that being said, my question for you this week is, so we have our Pro Wrestling Tees store now, and it got me thinking about the shirts that got away when I was a kid.
Oh.
And my question for you is, I'm trying to think what is the best way to phrase it, because originally I was just going to come in and say, what's a shirt that you wanted to get as a kid but you didn't? But I'm thinking now is, if you could bring back a shirt and either put it on WWE Shop or put it on Pro Wrestling Tees, or, you know, have it be like a licensed shirt. You could bring back one shirt from your childhood. What would it be? Whether you owned it or you just want just want a new version of it, or if it's one that you didn't get and you just want it so you can say that you had it.
Okay, so there was one shirt, and you guessed it. It's a Sting shirt. I was very young. I must have been like, I wouldn't say maybe like 12 or 13. It was definitely after Sting had returned. So I would say like 99, maybe 98, 99. And I was actually in Burlington Coat Factory of all places. And just going through the racks, there was this black shirt, and it just had a cartoon Sting on. That's it, just his face, cartoon hair and everything, no name, just his giant face. And obviously, I needed that shirt. Problem: I was almost a teenager. I don't know, maybe an adult small at the time. This shirt was a children's extra large, whatever, 14, 16.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I got it anyway. I maybe wore it once because it didn't really fit too well. And I kind of just packed it up and just stared at it from there on out. Don't know what happened to it. I might have it still somewhere. I doubt I got rid of it. I do have all my old wrestling shirts somewhere. Actually, me and Kenny G. Funny story. I'm going to go back to how me and Kenny G met because it involves a t-shirt also.
Okay.
So this is another shirt I would 100% bring back right now. We were in 7th grade. You know, we just started middle school. We both came from different elementary schools, so we didn't know each other. We ended up having a ton of classes together. We didn't really talk. It's maybe like, I don't know, 2 weeks into the school year, and we both waited outside the same door every day to go in. I show up. He shows up. We look at each other. We're just staring at each other, and we both unzip our coats to show the same exact WWF New York Hardy Boys t-shirt.
Oh my God.
And from there, that was it. We started like hopping over, like, you know, the railings that are on like handicap ramps? Like those were our ropes. And we were like hopping over them, like we were like tagging each other in and stuff. So I would bring back that shirt, which is still in my basement, and I know exactly where it is.
Wow. And now you're both at, is this the return? Is this the return of this new tag team now that Kenny's at Creative Pro?
I guess we'll see.
Oh, man.
All right, so I'm going to turn it around on you. Give me yours.
Oh, mine's easy. There's one shirt that I've always wanted, and I've seen like replicas of it on like, you know, T-Fury and all those, but I want the official, original licensed Owen 316. Says, I just broke your freaking neck. That is a shirt that I always wanted. And, yeah, as a kid, I don't know, it was weird. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you're like, oh, wrestling is 100% real and you believe into everything and you love it. And then, I was always a big fan of the shirt. So when like bad guys had really fun and clever shirts, I was like, oh, I know I'm not supposed to like that guy, but I kind of really like his shirt. And that was Owen, because you definitely weren't supposed to like Owen Hart back then. And I was like, but his shirt's really funny because it's a riff on the Stone Cold shirt that I also have, and I kind of wanted it. And my mom at the time didn't understand the difference and just thought that I wanted the same shirt. She thought it was the Austin 316 shirt again. She's like, you already have this. I'm not getting it for you. I was like, okay,
it's a very simple design that, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have got it either. But
it's a name with 316, so.
I think that's a good answer because that's a shirt we're, at least officially, we're never going to see return. Maybe unofficially somewhere, but that's not going up on the shop anytime soon.
I've Googled it like a million times to see if you can find it on eBay, and you can. There are people who are selling the shirts, and like you can go on Store Frontier, and like you have people that have like replicated the shirt, and you can get that. But it's just something. I want the original. I want that officially licensed one.
You want that WWF tag?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would say maybe we could do like our names, but my name 316 is like an actual thing. So, I mean, I remember
Clash
walking.
316 isn't.
That's true, but I remember walking around a Walmart or something when I was little and seeing a John 316 hat, and I was like, oh, I need this. And my mom's like, no, you don't know what that means.
No.
I was like, it means I just whooped your ass.
Means.
All right, that was a good question. I like that one.
Yeah, and as always, we want to open this question up to you. Let us know what shirts you wanted to have that you didn't get as a kid. And you know what? We'll even say shirts that you didn't get as a kid that you were able to purchase as an adult that you have a better appreciation for because you were able to get them yourselves.
All right, and up next, we're going to take our hashtag deep dive.
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style. All right, so Cutie Suzuki released December 12th, 1990 for the Sega Mega Drive, developed by Copia Systems and Asmic Corporation. Now, Cutie Suzuki is a actual Japanese wrestler, made a few appearances in the States for WCW in the 90s. She retired in 99, and this whole video game is pretty much her namesake. This is a video game based around women's professional wrestling for the Mega Drive, like we said. And this was a big game. It was a pivotal role in establishing, what's the word?
Kind of like
John,
the woman's like hero, the protagonist.
I was going to say, that's the word. I couldn't remember. Protagonist. And this features Cutie Suzuki and just women wrestling in general as the female protagonist in their own video game, which is a huge deal in the 90s.
Yeah, this kind of led to other games following the same suit. Like, okay, if this is okay, then let's do it. Which I think is pretty damn cool, because I'm going to kind of say this is the same type of stuff we're seeing now. Whether it's games, whether it's movies, TV, I think every company's kind of taking, I wouldn't say a risk because it's not really a risk, but they're kind of, everything's becoming more normalized, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's becoming an equal playing ground. It's not you're doing something for shock value, like, ooh, look, we put a female on the cover. Like, that's just becoming like, oh, this is just how you do games now. You can put anybody on the cover and it's going to sell because you can market to everyone.
Right.
You know, if you think about it, without games like this, maybe there's no Becky Lynch on the cover of 2K20.
You know, actually, when we had that debate, we said that Trish and Stacy Keibler were on the Day of Reckoning covers. We didn't even like come close to sniffing this game yet. So
no, I mean,
this is kind of groundbreaking here.
Yeah, this could be, and don't quote us on this, because there are literally hundreds of wrestling games, and I'm sure that there are other games that kind of vary on the point of being an actual wrestling game that have other females on the cover. But as far as we know, in our research, our weekly research for the podcast, this is the earliest date that we can find a female on the cover, which is awesome.
Yeah, okay, so how about this cover? Let's get into the artwork. So, if you don't know that this is a wrestling game, I'm a huge stickler for, being obvious, being blatant that it's a wrestling game, because I've met people that say, like, oh, I have 2K, or I have SmackDown vs. Raw 08, that aren't wrestling fans, but they just want a wrestling game. So I think no matter what, marketing-wise, you should put maybe some ring ropes, just something to say that it's a wrestling game. But we have Cutie Suzuki here, flexing in like a very awkward flex.
I mean, it's definitely not pose, I can tell you that much.
This
is just a normal photography.
Yeah, and then there's like Brady Bunch squares behind her of all the characters in the game, but there's only, 9 playable characters including her.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of randomized throughout the cover, so they repeat a little bit. But then Ringside Angel in like a bubble font with the 16-bit Cutie Suzuki kind of laying there and pointing to it.
Yeah, and
artwork-wise, it's cool, but wrestling artwork-wise, I would not do this.
It almost like, if you didn't know that this was a wrestling game, I almost would think that maybe it's like a swimming game, because it looks like she's wearing like when you do
oh yeah,
when you're like a relay swimmer or you're a diver. Like, I know, but if you didn't know that this was wrestling, it could be a diving game.
Yeah, okay, I guess I could see that. It kind of
could be.
kind of looks like. I don't even want to say what.
Say it, but you can leave it out.
Nope.
Does it look like the Playboy cover from last week?
Yep. Yep. Okay, let's go to the back of the game.
So
hey, hang on. All right. Let me take you through this.
Okay.
The back, we have 5 screenshots. Great. You know, the menu screen, the player select screens, two gameplay screens, which just show like a German suplex or something. But then, in the top left,
oof.
Like we said, let's make it obvious that this is a wrestling game. We have
now
Cutie...
you know. You've seen.
Okay. There's
German
only 2
plays, and
there's only 2 screenshots out of the 5 that actually show wrestling. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just like a part of the game. You still don't know. Also, there's a lot of Japanese writing that could blatantly say this is a wrestling game, and we have no idea.
I wonder if I can Google translate this picture.
But the top left is Cutie Suzuki holding a pink teddy bear or giant animal of some sort.
It's the stuffed dinosaur from the Asmic logo. Or what I'm assuming is the Asmic logo.
Oh, I just scrolled down. Okay. Oh, that's nuts. That's so weird.
I'm assuming that's what that... Yeah, it's the Asmic dinosaur.
Oh, okay. So what if we had like Roman Reigns hugging like...
His name is Boomer.
I just threw...
Wait, hold on. More information. A pink dinosaur named Asmikun, named Boomer, in the English release of Boomer's Adventure in Asmic World, seeks to recover 6 fragments so he can wake the dragon ruler of the world and make Asmic Land a paradise.
Oh, okay.
So he is the mascot of Asmic. Similar to how Mario is for Nintendo and Sonic was for Sega.
All right, that makes sense now.
This was their flagship guy.
Gotcha. Okay, so I just put the back Japanese text into Google Translate. You ready for this?
Okay.
Wrestling World #1 beautiful girl, Cutie Suzuki. A cute monkey appears in Mega Drip Fun with various skills and unique characters. Mega Drive's first professional wrestling game.
Did you say something about a monkey?
A cute monkey is that translation. I'm going to run it through again. Okay, so I just did it again, and it says, #1 beautiful girl from professional wrestling. It's so cute that it appears in Mega Drive. Various skills and unique characters are fun. Mega Drive's first professional wrestling game. That one sounds a little bit better.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Let's do the front now. I want to do the top, the bottom, and the middle. So the top text...
I would guess that it says Cutie Suzuki Ringside Angel.
No. The top one says exclusive for Mega Drive.
Okay, that makes sense.
The one above Ringside Angel says Roasty Book.
That's not right.
I don't think it's Roasty Book.
There's no way that that's right.
Something of a book keeps coming up. Oh, that's weird. Let's try the bottom left. It's a little more clear to read. Ringside Angel. Okay. So maybe the top is Cutie Suzuki.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because the name of the game is Cutie Suzuki.
All right. I doubt I'm going to be able to translate the text on the back because it's just not clear.
No. But that's
cool. Okay.
Big fan of this. This is a new segment called Translations by Johnny.
I feel like Linda Ellerby.
Wow.
I bet you haven't heard that name in a while. I bet Will McDonough is Googling it because he's probably 12.
Wow. There's so many wows.
Sorry, Will. I gotta take a shot at him.
The levels of wow that my voice just went through. All right. Let's get to some of the gameplay for this. You spent enough time being Google Translate for us. So what did you think about the gameplay in terms of like move sets? We saw a couple things to our
Oh
playthrough.
boy, did we.
We saw double underhook suplexes, traditional vertical suplexes, like I think you had a pile driver once or twice on me. Of course, the ever so famous Johnny Clash drop kick.
So everything was
nasty clotheslines.
So everything was hard to hit from whatever angle. You know, the collision was just not there. You kind of like overlap each other, and then like as you move, I move, and then we just keep overlapping throughout the ring. That kind of sucked. I feel like every move I tried to do to you, I think this happened to both of us. We would go for the move, but instead we just Irish whip every single time. So then your only choice is a drop kick, and if it's not a drop kick, your opponent just runs you over, and then you're down.
Yeah.
So my biggest gripe out of, I think, all of the moves, once you hit a big move like a dragon suplex or something big, a pile driver, your opponent gets up first, so you can't even pin them afterwards.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Every single time.
Do we want to talk about the chain?
oh boy, do we?
So there was just one point where I'm playing with, I couldn't even tell you what the name was, because there's just Japanese characters, and obviously we have the English translations, but the Japanese characters weren't translated in the version that we played. So all of a sudden, this Luna Vachon looking wrestler just pulls out a chain, wraps it around your opponent's neck, and all of a sudden, we went from doing German suplexes to now I'm choking Clash with a chain. Like, that was out of nowhere. Very unexpected.
It gets a 4 count and breaks like a real wrestling move. So that's cool,
I was gonna say.
I guess.
Originally, I thought it was like your submit count, and then I realized.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That was
very weird.
I don't think I've seen many chain chokes in a game before.
Yeah,
at least not in a wrestling game.
Yeah. We're going to get into the Clash at the Feast a little bit later, where we could explain how our match actually went down, because it was absurd. But
yeah.
But there are a few cool features visually about this game. Oh, one other thing that also bothered me. The ring ropes apparently just didn't exist, and if you just did a move by the ring ropes, the opponent just kind of crashed outside to like a Lego-looking mat. So that was weird.
Yeah, that
anyway.
Outside mat was very, and you can't run outside.
No, so if you're at like a 17 count, good luck getting back in the ring.
Yeah,
I know from experience. All right, so visually, I thought the game looked okay for especially 1990.
Yeah, game looked good.
It was very pretty. The crowd could have used, a little bit more characters, because it's very, very, very repeated with like some same Hulk Hogan looking dude.
I want to say something just so that we're clear. I want to be crystal fucking clear about this. And you know I'm serious because I cursed. The graphics are good. The art style is a completely other story. Do you agree with me?
Yes. Now go explain that.
This feels... So the first thing that I said when we played this game, at the menu screen, there is a woman in what I can only describe as the Playboy Bunny outfit, and she helps you pick your option. And as you hit down on your options, she kneels further down. Okay, odd choice. It's a Japanese game. Maybe this is something that they did in the matches. Fine, whatever. I let it go. Then we go to the gameplay screen, and everyone is wearing the same weird, very exposed, very
cheeky
wrestling gear. And all of a sudden it hits
exaggerated.
Me that this feels almost like those weird SNES Sega games that were Japanese exclusives, but they were essentially like, I don't know, like strip poker games, but it's like if it was wrestling.
Like
And
Leisure
it just
Suit
felt,
Larry.
yeah, and it just felt dirty and weird. And I was just like, I just want people to have pants on. I just felt uncomfortable. Like I just was like, give me a pair of tights, like just like a regular pair of tights.
Something was tight, all right.
It was, oh God, it's not a family podcast, but I wish it was right now. It just, something just felt
That
weird
wasn't a
and
knock on the desk you heard.
Oh God, I hate this so much right now. It was just, I can't
Keep going,
express
and I'll
how
keep going.
much. I cannot express how much I love the graphics, but not the art style.
No, I mean every pin you saw either like boobs or butt. It was weird.
Yeah, it was nuts. And you know, coming from Rumble, coming from, you know, the WWF arcade games were like, it was pixels, literally dots on a screen. It's not like, you know,
I would say this looks even better.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like compared to, you know, a game now where it's hundreds upon thousands of polygons that make up the Becky Lynch model. This is literally it's a flat, like one-dimensional plane.
Nothing was flat.
Oh my God, I just keep setting it up and you just keep knocking them down.
I feel like I should just have like a Michael Scott "That's What She Said" on repeat here. Okay, I'm gonna compare this game to something. I don't know if you're gonna agree with me or not. It reminded me of an old PlayStation game.
Okay.
Tomba.
Don't do that.
I did that.
Don't do that.
Something about it reminds me of it.
What reminded you of Tomba?
The colors, I don't know. Something somewhere. Maybe like the character models, the hair. I don't know.
Gosh, Tomba is like a Donkey Kong Country.
I know what it is.
Like
I played
3D platformer.
I'm saying something somewhere reminded me of that game.
My wife is going to kill you. Just so you know. That's like one of her top like favorite games of all time, and you just compared this to that. You compared Tomba to this weird softcore porn of a fucking strip wrestling game.
Okay.
All right, so I'm done talking about art style. No more art style. We're done. Standard fare with this gameplay. You have your 3 game modes. You have
No. Hang on.
What?
All right. Wait,
Okay.
hang on. We got to get back to the other visual aspects of this game. So this game is one of obviously the earliest games to depict. They call it Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is women's wrestling in Japan. It also features play-by-play commentary in the top right corner. So, kind of cool that the commentators rotate. You don't get the same ones back to back. There was an Arnold Schwarzenegger-looking guy. There is a woman, I don't know her name, obviously. Everything's in Japanese. There is a guy who looks like Johnny Gomez from Celebrity Deathmatch. And
then, of course, you get Boomer. Boomer is also someone who can be on commentary.
Yep. But obviously, this is a Sega game. You don't get the audio of it, but text just kind of scrolls on top of them of everything you're seeing. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
I
like that it was
the way to do it.
I like that it was there, but not distracting. It was a cool element that didn't distract or take away from the rest of the experience.
Yeah, I want to break down what that screen actually looks like, because personally, this is one of the better stamina bars and everything I've come across in a game. It's very innovative.
Yeah, I mean, there was one thing that was weird about this game, but I'll talk about it when you bring it up.
Okay, so top right, like we said, commentators in a little window. Then on the left, the player 1, player 2 stacked on top of each other. The middle is player 1 and player 2, kind of like a headshot of each of them, but they move, they animate next to their stamina bars that go up and down. So One of the main new features of this game when it came out, your players' health and all that is judged by their facial expressions.
And that's what I hated about this game. Because
okay.
It's an interesting concept. It's a horrible gauge. Because you will have a regular standard headshot, just like your normal default avatar. Then you'll do some weird taunt. Then at some point you'll look like you're sweating. Then all of a sudden your person will be shaking. And then you'll just go back to a regular headshot. It's so hard to gauge.
Kind of during our match is that each wrestler recovers stamina at a different rate. So that explains a lot why yours would shoot up. You would enter the ring and your stamina would shoot up. I would throw a drop kick and mine would just go straight down.
Yeah.
So I guess you really have to know who's who in this game and just who works best with what in order to win. I don't know. I guess I picked wrong.
I mean, it was hard because we had to kind of go off Japanese menus, obviously, and some text is in English, some text is not. So there were some things that we could obviously pick. There were some things that we couldn't pick. So it had its challenges, but we got through it, and I think we had a good experience with it. We got to
laughed a lot.
A nice hashtag deep dive.
Yeah, and other than that, you could do a singles match, a tournament, or you could just watch, where you literally... Oh, I just thought about why this is in there. You could literally just watch the game. You don't need to have a hand on the controller.
Clash.
You don't...
Clash. Is that a new shirt that's coming? It's gonna be the No Mercy N64 logo, but it's gonna say no hands.
Oh man, I'm so mad that I
just for making all of these stupid references and jokes. You're reading the roster this week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with Megadeth Saito, Mi Amor Yajima, Cindy Nakano, Kingdom Kato, Kili Katuhara, Guns Oyama, Halloween Aiseto, Lighting Harada. Now that's not lightning. That's not lightning. That's lighting.
It's lighting.
Like she's I just picture those two
good
big studio light.
She's hi-hats.
She's not lightning. She's lighting. Lighting Harada. And of course, Cutie Suzuki.
How do you feel about that? You feel good? You think you did okay?
Yeah. After
I only had to correct you on one, so that was good.
That wasn't bad compared to the other Japanese titles we played, but these are also a lot more gimmicky and easier to say and half American.
Now, I am going to go out on a limb here and say that the ratings and reviews for this week's game are probably pretty sparse. So, why don't you give me the one or two that we have? What?
Actually, I found a bunch. There are a bunch of publications that actually did rate this, and I found one from Sega16.com from 2012, and Sega Does from 2017.
What?
Yeah, now I've mentioned before that I don't think games should be rated after that. That's almost 30 years since the game came out. We're way past this type of game. I don't think... I guess Fire Pro does kind of... never mind. Anyway, let's start.
Will.
You there?
Go get him, Will.
Okay, GameSpot user rating. We're going to start with the user ratings. GameSpot user rating gives it a 2.5. Honest Gamers gives it a 2.5 out of 5. Moby Games user rating, a 2.7. Now, this is where we get into kind of the publications and everything. We have Joystick with an 80 out of 100. Generation 4, a 70 out of 100. Sega Pro, which is from the UK, a 69 out of 100.
It just really set you up for that one, didn't they? Just teed it right up and you just went swinging for the fences. Just bye-bye out of the park. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you next week on the Game Marks podcast.
All right, we got Reeves with a 65 out of 100.
Do you need a minute? You good?
Oh, I don't need a minute. Power Play with a 33 out of 100. Now we got the Sega16.com from 2012 with a 2 out of 10. See, like, that's where it's unfair. What are you judging it against? And Sega Does from 2017 with a C. I don't know.
I mean,
you can't rate the game after it's been out for that long.
I don't know. A relative of mine for a long period of time wrote articles for a ROM website. And it was just, if there are very obscure games that were not from the region that you were from, you could read his articles and would give you a brief description and his short little rating of the game, but based on other games from that time. So like he would play Wrestle War, but base Wrestle War on the other games from that genre around that time. And I thought it was cool because, one, it opened my eyes to a ton of different games that were very similar games to what we had over in the States, but there were these wild other Japanese titles that I never got to experience. So I would like to think that they're doing something similar, but...
Okay, but you're giving it a number rating compared to what? Where I'm going to put over our rating system for a second, where you have two options. Would you play it again or would you not play it again? I guess you could say the same thing for that, where it's like, what are you comparing it against? But we're judging like the nostalgia of it, and would you play it forever or future endeavor? I think that's how you have to judge older games that are way past their prime.
Yeah. Well, so the closing remarks from that Sega Does article says that Ringside Angel was a pleasant surprise, and once you get past the simple graphics and adapts to its little quirks, it's surprisingly fun. It's a challenging wrestling game. Admittedly, it would have never sold much outside of Japan, but wrestling games were still niche titles in the 1990s, and an average-looking women's wrestling game probably wouldn't have changed that, but still, it's a game with an interesting footnote for the developer who... Listen, I want you to understand something. We're not done with Boomer. Boomer's going to be coming back 2, maybe even 4 more times on this podcast. Because Asmic also published Jay George's, friend of the podcast, Jay George, his favorite wrestling series, Virtual Pro Wrestling.
Ooh,
1
okay.
and 2.
Speaking of that, Beefcake from Bear Country, Bear Boulder, he's also a huge fan of those games, and he sent me a picture. He has the N64 versions in his possession.
Well, there's Boulder's episodes.
Yep.
And
Sorry.
I mean, if you're not familiar, Virtual Pro Wrestling 1 and 2 are the foundation for all of the AKI, THQ, WWF, WCW games, from World Tour to No Mercy.
I love how this is all just like connected.
I didn't know what we were going to learn, because like I had a decent amount of knowledge about video games just because, you know, you want to learn more about the things in the games that you had when you were a kid, so you dive into random articles and facts on the internet. But like, just to really understand, like you said, just how interwoven and what a crazy tangled web of video games this actually ends up being in the end. Big picture, this is nuts. It's a crazy web.
I mean, look at this game. We didn't even think we could get like a half-hour episode out of it because we thought it was so lame, but we're at about an hour and we're still going, and we have plenty to talk about.
Speaking of plenty to talk about, I think it's time for some fast facts. For those of you who don't own a Mega Drive, Cutie Suzuki is available for free on archive.org to play on your internet browser.
In 1995, at WCW's World War III pay-per-view, Cutie Suzuki and Mayumi Ozaki, wow, I hit that one, were defeated by Bull Nakano and Akira Hokuto, accompanied by Sonny Ono, in a tag team match. The teams also competed the following night on Nitro.
Wrestling Observer Newsletter rated a 5-star match in 1993 with Cutie Suzuki, Dynamite Kansai, Mayumi Ozaki, and Hikari Fukuoka versus Asia Kong, Saki Hasegawa, Kyoku Inoue, and Takako Inoue on July 31st, 93. That was a tough one.
Easy for you to say. All right. I'm actually, honestly, a 5-star match in 93 between 4 a 4-on-4 between 4 Japanese women wrestlers is pretty impressive, but knowing that it's Wrestling Observer Newsletter and it's in Japan, that makes sense.
I mean, Asia Kong was everything.
All right, and up next, our weekly tournament, Clash at the Feast.
All right, Johnny boy. Want to walk us through Clash at the Feast this week?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to the first game we played. Both of us went in cold. We didn't know the controllers. We didn't know really what we were doing. We kind of had to feel it out a bit. This is where the weird kind of, I guess, collision came in, where I just fell outside the ring and all you did was whip me into the guardrail and then body slam me, and I was counted out because I couldn't run back into the ring, and that was within like 30 seconds of the match starting. So
yeah, thanks for coming out.
We run it back, and this time maybe a minute and a half, and I just get a quick 1-2-3 over you. Cool. 1-1. Now this is it. This is the tournament match. Johnny versus George. You pick the one that looks like, you said, Luna Vachon, and I pick the one who looks like Peg Bundy. With red hair. What's happening, I don't know right now? I just don't know. So, unlike our last 2 matches that lasted about 2 minutes total, I think we went Broadway on this one. I looked many times to see if there was a time limit that could just end it, but I think it was the dynamic of the 2 players we picked that just worked together. Every pin, it was a kick out before one. You choked me with a chain. I put you in a sharpshooter. We beat the crap out of each other. The game just would not end, and then out of nowhere, you just hit me with a 1-2-3, and you're a winner. Now up 15-8. That's pathetic. George Feast.
Play my music.
You know, one day I'm just going to troll you, and rather than put your actual music, I'm going to put something else. I don't know what.
Oh, I have recommendations of things that you can play.
No, see, like, that's... I wouldn't take your recommendation to troll you.
You could play like... No, but you should play like Tiny Tim or...
Kenny G? And now here's some Smooth Oboe by Kenny G.
All right, Clash. It is now the time in the episode where I remind you that we have covered gaming news. We have done the question of the week. We just wrapped up our deep dive and Clash at the Feast. So I must ask you, Cutie Suzuki, Ringside Angel, will you play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Ooh, this is a big future endeavor.
You're fired!
But I'm gonna play it forever, the watch mode.
I hate this episode a lot.
George?
That's going to do it this week for us on the Game Marks podcast.
George, what about you?
Now, in terms of the gameplay and the graphics, I'll play that forever. This is fun, interesting, somewhat different take on a wrestling game. Art style? Creepy Playboy bunny cheeks or boobs art style from 1990? No, thank you. I feel weird playing this game because of that, and I will future endeavor that. Which means, I guess, my whole overall rating will be a future endeavor, but I just needed you guys to know why.
You're fired!
Ugh.
Just leaves you with that you need Listerine.
Yeah, just do me a favor. Just tell everybody what we're playing next week.
All right. So, with that, George, I don't want to say exactly what we have lined up within the next, I'm going to say next month or two of the podcast, but we have something, I can't even say huge. This is like beyond huge coming up, but it's coming.
I can't wait. I'm very excited.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give any details yet. Maybe next week. We just need to finalize. We need to dot some T's, cross some I's, and figure this out. But something's coming, and it's going to be insane. It's going to be awesome.
It's probably going to be the biggest and greatest episode that we've had yet.
Like, I don't even want to put it out because there's no going up from there.
Once we say it, once we say it, we put it out there. We have to make it happen. And once it actually happens, you're right. That's top of the mountain.
But anyway, next week on the podcast, we are playing New Japan Pro Wrestling 94 Battlefield in Tokyo Dome for the Super Famicom and PC Engine CD-ROM. And with that, Georgie, take it to the bridge.
You know what? I'm going to change it up a little bit this week. First, I want to thank you, John, for doing this podcast with me every week. It's the highlight of my week. It's very fun. And as always, I want to thank you guys. Thank the Game Marks, the listeners, for joining me and John every week on this ridiculous podcast that we do. And with that, it's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks podcast. Please do not forget to follow us on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to this podcast wherever great podcasts can be found. And please do not forget about that Pro Wrestling Tees store. It is the best way to support the podcast, and John and I worked very, very hard on those shirts. So please join me and John and mark the F out. And Johnny boy, do me a favor. Say goodbye to all our wonderful listeners out there.
Game over.